15-6 overall. Big win for the Lakers. I mean, not exactly the most ideal finish you want from the Lake Show, but it's still a win. A win is a win, and I'm sure Laker fans out there just wanted to see. You heard Anthony Davis with Rachel Nichols just get back in the win column. You had already lost 2 games in a row, so to see another one, obviously that would have been incredibly disappointing. Lakers did take a 7-point lead. Boston went on a 6-0 run, but ultimately at the end of the day, 96-95, Lakers got just enough to get this win over the Boston Celtics. And I was talking about this, that now the Lakers are 4-2 on the 7-game road trip. One more game against the Atlanta Hawks coming up on Monday. How great would it be? You walk away from this road trip and you go 5-2. I think it would be a fantastic road trip where the next 5 games after that are going to be at Staples Center. Couple things I want to point out here before we get to Lakers head coach Frank Vogel. Phone number is 877-710-ESPN. So if you're out and about in your car and you want to react to this game, you're listening on the ESPN app or on iTunes, or if you're on our social show on all our platforms on ESPN Los Angeles and you want to be a part of the postgame show, 877-710-ESPN. You could feel free to give us your thoughts. The big highlights here, I thought, of course, Anthony Davis coming back, 27 points, 2 steals, 14 rebounds. That's AD. And that's not a surprise or a shock. That's something we expect from Anthony Davis. LeBron, 21, 7 and 7. That's LBJ. That's not too much of a shock either. But these role players made up some ground for the Lakers, and they have to. I mean, all we sit here and do is talk about how much depth that the Lakers have, how good this Lakers team is from a role player perspective. Dennis Schroeder came through tonight. I don't feel like he's come through consistently the last couple games. Tonight, 12.7 assists. One of the final calls from Ireland on the call was that and one from Dennis Schroeder to put the Lakers up 7. Montrezl Harrell had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and 3 block shots. I mean, that's a fantastic line from Montrezl Harrell. Then you got other players that chipped in that maybe we won't talk a ton about, but I thought Talen Horton-Tucker gave the Lakers some great minutes. I thought Alex Caruso continues to put Coach Vogel in a position where he's got to be in the games closing out. I've said this a few times before. Caruso tonight, plus 14. That was the highest plus-minus on the team. I feel like I've done that a few times this season where Caruso, he's not going to give you 30 minutes, but he might give you 20, and in those 20, it's quality minutes rather than quantity. Caruso, I thought, had some great contributions. Kuzma had 11 points. So those role players, I thought, were the difference. Because you know what LeBron and AD are going to do. It's going to be key from there to see what your bench players and guys like Dennis Schroeder in their starting lineup are going to do, especially because there are some guys that are struggling. Gasol, struggling. KCP these last few games, struggling. Wesley Matthews didn't even get into the game. So there are players that, right now I feel like the rotation's kind of tightening up a little bit. And the guys who did get in came through tonight, 96-95 Lakers over the Celtics. Let's go to Lakers head coach Frank Vogel. Let's get his thoughts on this 1-point win over Boston. Lakers, like I mentioned, one more game left on this road trip.
Hey, Frank, what was the key to start the fourth quarter there when it seemed like you turned things around?
I think we just had great defensive energy. We try to talk about playing Laker basketball. We're really flying around on the defensive end, getting stops without fouling and getting us out on the break. I think we had a couple possessions where we were able to attack before the defense was set, because we put together some stops. So this game was won the whole fourth quarter with our defense, and it's a tough place to win, so it's a good win for us.
And Frank, what were you thinking with the 9-man rotation, and how did you think that played out as the game went on?
Yeah, these are not easy things. We just felt like we're trying to get a lot of guys in there. Play a 10-man rotation with 2 guys playing 37, 38 minutes, can be difficult for guys to get rhythm, So, we just wanted to look at what a shorter rotation would look like. A couple guys have to sacrifice. Wes and Keith didn't get in there. We asked them to be pros, and, the guys that did play, get a little bit extra run to get a little bit better rhythm. So, I don't know how much of a difference it made, but we were able to get the W, so we're all happy about that.
Bill?
Hey, Frank, you're looking a little less fuzzy now that you guys are back on the winning side of things. Back to the rotations. How much harder is that when you are dealing with veteran players like Wesley and Markeith, who were free agents this summer, obviously had options with where they would go and presumably had roles in mind? I mean, just how much harder does that make the calculus for you?
Yeah, it's the toughest part of the job, to be honest. You got guys that are really good players that deserve minutes that you don't have minutes for. It's difficult. They're tough conversations, but those two guys are consummate pros, and this is not something permanent. This is we lost 2 in a row. Let's get a win tonight, and go game to game from there. We'll continue to evaluate what we got to do with our rotation to get W's.
Frank, I was just kind of wondering if you could take us in some of those final sequences, especially on offense. What were you looking for? How did the Celtics respond? And as a follow-up, that the AD was talking about the transition defense on when Kemba got the steal and was able to take it back. What happened there that prevented them from getting the easy basket?
One of the best defensive players of the year. I mean, we just run. We got a late game set that we've been running. They got us the lead in Philadelphia. And Boston guarded it a little bit better tonight, but we still were able to get AD the ball in a great spot with good space to go to work in the post. They made a strong defensive play and got a strip and had an opportunity to run out and win the game. But Alex just flies from the corner out of nowhere and gets ahead of the play, gets a deflection, slows down Brown, and then Dennis raced back into the play as well. That's what we've been talking about. All trip is just improving our transition defense, that type of urgency, and obviously with the game on the line, those two guys getting back and getting in front of the ball, both with Brown and with Kemba on that last play by Dennis, really saved the game.
Yeah.
Frank, you guys do so much film work. I'd assume that if you're ever looking for an example of how just hustle can make a difference in a game, that you'd pick that snippet of Alex. Can you just kind of talk a little bit more about the impact something as simple as just putting your head down and running as hard as you can make in a game like this?
Yeah, well, we talked, that's part of the play harder than your opponent identity is who's changing ends harder, who's changing ends running the floor offensively, who's sprinting back harder defensively, the sprint versus a jog mindset. Good job. I'll talk to you soon. They're all things that we preach every day, that we continue to coach and hold guys accountable for. And, quite frankly, we haven't done it well enough the first few games of this trip. But we had a pretty solid performance in that regard tonight.
Dave?
How much of your performance down the stretch was different versus the Detroit game by just virtue of having Anthony Davis out there? And how much was it your approach was tightened up a little bit, wanting to end that 2-game losing streak?
I think all of that. Anthony obviously always helps in everything we do. We solidified some things with the rotation, so guys were able to get a little bit better rhythm going into that fourth. And like I said, I think everything you just mentioned contributed to the W.
Last 2 questions, Jovan.
Hey, Frank, I'm curious, with the new bench kind of rotation of shortening it, you had a lineup out there with Trez, Kuz, LeBron, THT, and Alex that had only played 10 minutes before tonight. What did you think of that group? Because it was obviously very successful to start the second and fourth.
Yeah, I like the energy that they had. Alex and Kuz and Talon and really Trez, all 4 of those guys are hard-playing dudes, we haven't seen that lineup primarily because we haven't seen a lot of Talon, Horton, Tucker. We want to get in there, but it's again these are tough decisions. Wes Matthews is a heck of a player and sacrificed the game tonight to get Talon some minutes. Keith as well. Those guys are major contributors for us. We've got a lot of depth, so we intend to use it.
Last one, David.
Hey, Coach, AD during the TV interview after the game said something about going back to be the old AD. How much important is for you to have him play with the determination he had offensively in this game and also the impact it had on the...
Yeah, look, it's, this is a different type of season. you win a championship, his first championship, and all of a sudden your off season is cut short dramatically, and so there's you don't have the normal build up, getting your legs under you, getting prepared for the season. So we knew the first part of the season, there was going to be a little bit of, let's just get our ramp up, as comfortable as possible. And he's built up. He's getting into that mode right now. He's really starting to pick it up. The injury set him back a little bit by missing the game the other night and being injured throughout the Philly game. But we want him to be assertive, and when he's assertive on both sides of the ball, we're very difficult to beat. So I'm happy with how he played tonight.
All right, that's Lakers head coach Frank Vogel. If you do not listen to the broadcast or watch it on TV tonight, what a game. 96-95 Lakers over the Celtics. When we come back, a couple things I want to hit on that coach referenced. He talked about the fourth quarter defense for the Lakers, who only gave up 17 points in the fourth. The shorter rotation, so no Markieff Morris, no Wesley Matthews tonight. I thought actually that played to the Lakers' advantage. We'll take more of your phone calls, 877-710-ESPN. Thank you for tuning in. Stay right here. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Keyshawn.
You ready?
LA's mega sports lineup.
Are you ready?
On LA's mega sports station. Start your day with me, Keyshawn, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis Rogers. Here with you each weekday morning. Mike Greenberg, Greeny, is back on your radio from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 11, you loved him for years on 710. Max is back. Max Kellerman for your lunch hour. And at 1 p.m., my guys Mason and Ireland are back in middays until 4 p.m.
How about a little afternoon flavor with George Sedano and LZ Granderson?
Sedano and LZ until 7. And the LA Sports Talk Now don't stop until 10 p.m. each weeknight. Scott Kaplan holds it down at night.
The all-new 710.
Don't get it twisted, homeboy. The best sports talk in LA on 710 ESPN.
On 710 ESPN.
Hey, Laker fans, it's Travis. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 5 a.m., we're going to break down everything from the Lakers game. We're going to tell you who played well, what went right, all of it starting at 5 o'clock right here on 710 ESPN. Get up.
710 ESPN is giving away cash
again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka.
Did I really win?
You really won, man.
You have won $1,000 cash.
That's crazy.
It's the Mission 18 cash giveaway.
Your chance at $180 a day.
And the grand prize of $1,800.
It's Mission 18, Los Angeles.
All you have to do is text the word mission to 40705 right now to get your name qualified.
Beginning Tuesday afternoon with Sedano and LZ on the Lakers line. Brought to you by Pizza Hut and the Triple Treat Box. 2 medium, 1-topping pizzas, breadsticks, and Cinnabon mini rolls for just $21.99. Every day is a holiday at Pizza Hut.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's time for Lakers postgame with Sliwa.
Now, here's Allen Sliwa.
And he gets it to Kemba Walker, who brings it into the front court. 2:40 to go. Walker driving through the entire Laker defense, and Montrezl Harrell blocks his shot. Lakers are arguing that ball hit Walker. Third block of the game for Harrell.
Really nice defensive game from Montrezl Harrell. You hear John Ireland mention it there. 3 blocks for Montrez. By the way, Talen Horton-Tucker, 2 steals for the Lakers. AD had 2 steals. So certainly on the defensive side, you thought the Lakers won this game. Only gave up 95 points. The defensive play of the game is brought to you by Adriana's Insurance. Win and save on your auto insurance, and only Adriana's Insurance can guarantee it. For more than 25 years, Adriana's Insurance has been the champion of savings. Visit savewithadrianas.com today. More options, no contracts, just savings. Jared Dudley sent out a tweet. Sure, I read this properly here. Best win of the year. That's it. That's all Jared Dudley put out there. And right when I saw that tweet, started thinking to myself, I'm like, best win? Wait, let me go back here. Let me think. What are some of the big W's that the Lakers have had? I think it's either going to come down to the win in Milwaukee, or it's the win against the Boston Celtics tonight. Some other games that the Lakers have won, really, okay, the Houston Rockets, they weren't good. Memphis, no problem. Just go back to some of the other wins that the Lakers have had so far this year. A lot of them have come against teams that you're expected to win. So the road win against the Milwaukee Bucks or this road win against Boston. I'm actually with Dudley on this one because it is the Boston Celtics, because it is the rival of the Los Angeles Lakers, because Boston is going to be one of these handful of teams in the Eastern Conference that are competing to come out of the East. And let's not sugarcoat it. Boston's got a future. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, those two guys are absolute studs, and one's 24 years old. The other one's just 22. So no question about it, those players are a big part of what the future of the Boston Celtics are going to be. I mean, Tatum for a few possessions in a row was just going right at, doesn't matter who, Anthony Davis, didn't really matter at all who he was going up against, but he was taking the challenge. But the Lakers 96-95. So something Coach hit on that I want to hit on real quick. So Lakers had a bit of a shorter rotation tonight. Coach hit on two things. First thing he hit on was the fourth quarter defense is what won the Lakers the game. By the way, third quarter, Lakers collapsed. They gave up too many points, had 6 turnovers just in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, complete opposite. It was Boston that was collapsing, and it was the Lakers that were protecting the ball, and Boston who had, I don't know how many turnovers they had in that fourth quarter, but it felt like they were turning the ball over every other possession, something along those lines. So the tight rotation for the Lakers. We've talked about how the Lakers pretty much are going to play 10, 11 guys each one of these games. It's probably not ideal. It's a luxury. I don't think it's a necessity, but this is part of the position that the Lakers are in. They got so many talented players. Wesley Matthews, one of those guys that didn't get any playing time tonight. I'm okay with it, and I'm sure there's probably other Laker fans out there. Wes has struggled. He struggled from the three-point line. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He certainly has not got into a groove where I'm just going to use Talen Horton-Tucker as an example. I know he's incredibly young. I know that it's not common to play somebody this young on a championship team. Usually those young players, they're getting a lot of their playing time. They're typically doing it on a lottery team. They're not going to, how are you going to get major minutes playing for the Los Angeles Lakers when they're favorites to go back-to-back this year? That's not typically going to happen. But I remember in the pregame show with Michael, I was telling him, I said, listen, if a guy like Talen Horton-Tucker is getting 15, 20 minutes a game and you're giving Wesley Matthews less minutes, I'm okay with that. If Alex Caruso is going to get more playing time than some of the other players, it's all good. If AD is going to play more of the 5 and Marc Gasol, you got to limit some of his minutes, and Markieff Morris isn't going to get into the game, which I'm a fan of Markieff, but I know that can go either way. But with all that being said, you've lost 3 games in a row, you've lost 2 games in a row. You're trying to avoid losing the 3rd game in a row. I did think that this was a very important game for the Lakers just to kind of get back on track, just to get back on the winning column and start kind of some new momentum for this team. So I was a fan, and if you guys have a thought on this, I'm a big proponent of Talen Horton-Tucker getting more playing time. I really am, because I do feel like he adds this element and this incredible amount of pressure on defenses where he's not just one-dimensional, where you're only looking at, well, is he going to pull up and shoot a jumper? No, THT puts pressure on defense, tries to get to the basket, and for a 20-year-old to have that type of offensive ability, I think that's such an advantage with LeBron and Anthony Davis, or one of those two guys are getting some rest on the bench. Okay, that's one side of it. The other side of it I want to hit on was, after the Lakers lost to the Detroit Pistons, I probably went a little too hard on the Dennis Schroeders and the Montrezl Harrells of the world. They combined, those two players combined in that game against the Pistons for 18 points. They combined for 4 assists, I think it was, 6 rebounds, something along those lines. And I kept saying to myself, I'm like, wait a minute here. These two guys, this is supposed to be your 3rd and 4th best players. Anthony Davis is not playing tonight. These guys got to have much better lines than what they did against the Pistons. And I know the Lakers looked gassed in that second half. I get all that. But those two guys have to be consistent for the Lakers. If the Lakers are going to go back-to-back this year, Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell, it can't be you go 3 games not contributing the way we're accustomed to or what most fans are expecting from a guy like Dennis Schroeder or from Montrezl Harrell. Tonight, they were right back to form. I loved in Schroeder's stat line, those 7 assists were so big for the Lakers. I think he had 4 of them in the first half. It doesn't have to be just scoring. It doesn't have to be just 18 points, and that's what you're expecting from Dennis Schroeder. Put pressure on the defense, be one of those players that can also create from others or for others, and I thought Schroeder did that. And then, Montrezl Harrell, if I was giving out, if you're saying, all right, got to give out a game ball, who's it going to go to? I think I would lean towards Montrezl Harrell because it wasn't just his 16 points and his 5 rebounds, 3 blocked shots and 2 steals. So I thought Montrez did a little bit of everything tonight, and certainly that part of it was key, was so big for the Lakers, and I love seeing some of these role players deliver for the Lake Show. Anthony Davis not playing in that game against the Pistons, okay, you're incredibly aware of what that means. But also at the same time, he comes in tonight and, it looked like AD really tried getting himself going early. He took 14, I think he had 14 shot attempts in that first half. And then in the second half, Boston completely changed their game plan. They tried shutting down Anthony Davis. Everything was about doubling as best as they can, doubling Anthony Davis. So AD tried making the proper plays when he could. He ended up with the 27 and 14, like I mentioned, with the 2 steals. Okay, coming up next, LeBron James. We'll get a chance to hear from LBJ, get his thoughts on this win, plus just one more game left on this Lakers road trip, and I'm sure Laker fans and including this Lakers team are excited to get back to Staples Center. They'll have 5 straight games at Staples Center after this game on Monday. Lakers over the Celtics, 96-95. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Keyshawn.
You ready?
LA's mega sports lineup.
Are you ready?
On LA's mega sports station.
Start your day with me, Keyshawn, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis Rogers. Here with you each weekday morning. Mike Greenberg, Greeny is back on your radio from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 11, you loved him for years on 710. Max is back. Max Kellerman for your lunch hour. And at 1 p.m., my guys Mason and Ireland are back in middays until 4 p.m.
How about a little afternoon flavor with George Sedano and LZ Granderson?
Sedano and LZ until 7. And the LA Sports Talk Now don't stop until 10 p.m. each weeknight. Scott Kaplan holds it down at night.
The all-new 710.
Don't get it twisted, homeboy. The best sports talk in LA on 710 ESPN.
On 710 ESPN.
Hey, Laker fans, it's Travis. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 5 a.m., we're going to break down everything from the Lakers game. We're going to tell you who played well, what went right, all of it starting at 5 o'clock right here on 710 ESPN. Get up.
710 ESPN is giving away cash
again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka.
Did I really win?
You really won, man.
You have won $1,000 cash.
That's crazy.
It's the Mission 18 cash giveaway.
Your chance at $180 a day.
And the grand prize of $1,800.
It's Mission 18, Los Angeles.
All you have to do is text the word mission to 40705 right now to get your name qualified.
Beginning Tuesday afternoon with Sedano and LZ, we start calling out names, and it could be yours that wins cash.
Giving away cash for 18 straight days.
The Mission 18 cash giveaway from LA's Mega Cash Sports Station.
710 ESPN. Rolls for just $21.99. Every day is a holiday at Pizza Hut.
Once again,
Here's Allen Sliwa.
All right, Points in the Paint all season long is sponsored by Vista Paint. Right now, local residents can take 40% off on factory direct high-quality Vista Paint products. A Vista Paint team member will show you how locally owned, manufactured, and operated since 1956, Vista Paint. So this is, one area of the game that the Lakers typically dominate in. Surprisingly, Lakers got dominated in points in the paint today, 60-40. 60-40. Actually, when you do look at these team stats, we're going to have LeBron James, by the way, coming up here shortly. When you do look at these team stats, 96-95 Lakers over the Celtics. Lakers, just kind of put this in perspective. Boston shot almost 49%. Lakers shot 44%. Lakers did hit 3 more threes than Boston. Both teams, to be honest with you, struggled from the three-point line. Lakers did leave 6 points on the free throw line. They shot 13 of 19. The one thing I will say, only 1 turnover in that, maybe actually 2 turnovers in that fourth quarter. So 14 turnovers total for the Lakers, which isn't too bad. I mean, ideally you want to be around maybe 12, something along those lines. Boston had 15 turnovers. That's one of the stats that killed the Lakers against the Pistons. They couldn't force any turnovers. Everything, the entire time, everything was coming. The game against the Pistons, nothing came easy for the Lakers, and they weren't forcing enough turnovers. But they made it happen tonight against the Boston Celtics. So give everybody just an idea what we got coming up here over the next 5 games for the Lakers. 877-710 ESPN if you want to be a part of the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show. Next 7 games for the Lakers. Next 5 games for the Lakers. So February 1st is Monday, and Lakers will start this stretch. They'll play the Atlanta Hawks. Lakers have 4 road games in the entire month of February. Lakers have 4 road games in the entire month of February. So it just shows from this point on, and their last game is going to be March 3rd before the Lakers go on this break. This just kind of shows what a great position that the Lakers are in. The break, by the way, will be 37 games in, and then we take it from there. But this just shows the position that the Lakers are in, that you got an incredible amount of games that you can take care of. Atlanta Hawks coming up on Monday. Denver at home on Thursday. Then Detroit, Oklahoma City, and Memphis on this kind of streak here, these 5 home games. I want to say the only team that should really be a threat is Denver over these next 6 games. So, listen, can you have a Detroit Pistons or a Golden State Warriors upset you? You definitely can. That happens. It happens all the time. But I do think for the Lakers right now, they're in a great position. Now they just got to start taking care of business at home. They're only 4-4 at home. Okay, let's go to LBJ, LeBron James on the Lakers' win over the Boston Celtics, 96-95. By the way, LeBron, his box score tonight, just to kind of show his production, 29.7 assists and 7 rebounds. Here's LBJ.
If you don't mind, 1 second. I didn't see Mike there, so Mike, go ahead.
Hey, LeBron, that final play or that final section of the game, Caruso sprints down the court, and just wondering, it seems like an effort play, but there has to be a certain amount of just mental acuity there and just kind of recognition. Can you take us through what you saw from that perspective and kind of how big that was?
Anytime you have a turnover, you just want to have a quick twitch, try to get back and try to recover the play. And that's exactly what we did, starting with AC getting back, and then all of us just kind of formed the wall. Dennis did a great job of standing in front of Kemba, even though Kemba got to his patented shot to step back. But Dennis still got a great look. Got a great contest on his shot, and Tice missed a layup. So we came away with a win.
Frank spoke about shortening the rotation to 9 for tonight, and that's been something he's been juggling with. You have 11 guys at least who you'd like to give more minutes for. Just your experience over the years and what it's like having the rotation like that and how that impacts guys night in, night out.
As professionals, we all just have to stay ready when our numbers call. We're here for one reason only, and that's to try to win a championship, and that's what it is.
Kyle Gunn?
Hey, AD talked a little bit about sort of just not wanting to lose 3 in a row and having a little extra energy from that. In what ways do you feel like maybe that extra energy or extra desire to break the losing streak came out tonight in your guys' performance as a team?
Well, we don't want to lose 1 in a row, and then we take pride in losing 2 in a row, and we did that, and in Philly and Detroit. So we knew we was coming into a hostile environment in a hostile building, understanding how good this team is, and we had to play some really good basketball in order to win, and we was able to win 1 possession more than they were tonight and come away with them.
Dan?
Hey, LeBron. you guys obviously every time you step on the court, you guys have a lot of talent that you put on the floor. But over the past year and 20 games, I guess this season, playing harder than the other team, wanting it, I guess, more has been a thing that's really shown through. How have you guys been able to keep that sort of like, we're going to play harder than you more nights than not sort of mentality?
Because talent can only take you so far. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of talented teams in this league, but it's how far you can go as far as how hard you play. How much you challenge yourself on the defensive end to try to get stops, to want to get stops, and just have that mentality. So that's just who we've been over the last year or so.
Bill?
All right, that's LeBron. All right, that's LBJ right there. You know, one of the things that I've heard now you heard it from Coach. You heard it from Anthony Davis when he was with Rachel Nichols. You heard, obviously, just LeBron even right there, just kind of referencing to it. Alex Caruso and those couple of possessions, specifically that last possession. By the way, Boston could have easily scored on that final possession. But Alex Caruso, just his hustle. If I read off Alex Caruso's stat line, I'm going to read it off. All right? And if anybody did not watch the game or listen to the game, they're going to look at this stat line. They're going to say, Al, what are you talking about? Why are you giving so much praise to Alex Caruso? He had 2 points, he had 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. And he played 20 minutes, only took 2 shots, 1 or 2 from the field. Very naturally, somebody's going to look at that and say, okay, well, let's skip over Caruso. Let's go to the guys that filled up the box score. Okay, what did Anthony Davis do? Or what did Kuzma, how did he contribute? Just kind of go off of that. It's very natural, and it's all good. But Caruso makes winning plays. He does. I don't know how many in these last 5 games. I feel like Caruso's been. The Milwaukee game, I know he was in at the end. This game, of course, he was in at the end. What's the game we had after Milwaukee? Cleveland and Chicago, some close games. You can't take Caruso out in critical times because you know he's not going to hurt you. You know he's probably going to give just a little bit more effort because he knows if he's going to stay on the court, that's the only way that he's going to stay on the court. He's got to out-hustle some of these other players and everything else. So I just point that out because the dude was plus 14 on the plus-minus, and he only played 20 minutes, and he only took 2 shots. So it just kind of shows his contributions there towards the end. All right, Lakers 96, Boston 95. Coming up next, Anthony Davis. We'll hear from AD. Get a chance to hear from Anthony Davis, get his thoughts on this Lakers win, this 1-point win over the Boston Celtics. Stay right here. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Keyshawn.
You ready?
LA's mega sports lineup.
Are you ready?
On LA's mega sports station.
Start your day with me, Keyshawn, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis Rogers. Here with you each weekday morning. Mike Greenberg, Greeny is back on your radio from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 11, you loved him for years on 710. Max is back. Max Kellerman for your lunch hour. And at 1 p.m., my guys Mason and Ireland are back in middays until 4 p.m.
How about a little afternoon flavor with George Sedano and LZ Granderson?
Sedano and LZ until 7. And the LA Sports Talk Now don't stop until 10 p.m. each weeknight. Scott Kaplan holds it down at night.
The all-new 710.
Don't get it twisted, homeboy. The best sports talk in LA on 710 ESPN.
On 710 ESPN.
Hey, Laker fans, it's Travis. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 5 a.m., we're going to break down everything from the Lakers game. We're going to tell you who played well, what went right, all of it starting at 5 o'clock right here on 710 ESPN. Get up.
710 ESPN is giving away cash
again.
You have just won $1,000.
Way to go, Gil!
No way. Oh, awesome.
Anushka from Cyprus. Anushka.
Did I really win?
You really won, man.
You have won $1,000 cash.
That's crazy.
It's the Mission 18 cash giveaway.
Your chance at $180 a day.
And the grand prize of $1,800.
It's Mission 18, Los Angeles.
All you have to do is text the word mission to 40705 right now to get your name qualified.
Beginning Tuesday afternoon with Sedano and LZ, we start calling out names, and it could be yours that wins cash.
Giving away cash for 18 straight days.
The Mission 18 cash giveaway from LA's Mega Cash Sports Station.
710 ESPN.
Allen Sliwa.
96-95, Lakers over the Boston Celtics. Next game coming up. By the way, give everybody a quick idea here. The next game's on Monday. Pre-game show at 3 p.m. and tip-off at 4:30. See if Lakers can go 5-2 on this road trip. Here I was praising Alex Caruso as much as I was. We're going to go to Caruso first. After Caruso, we still got Anthony Davis. Here's Alex Caruso on his performance, the team performance, and the Lakers' 1-point win over the Celtics.
Hey, Alex, congrats on the win. I want to start with that final defensive possession. From the moment there was the steal, what was going through your mind as you got back in transition?
Yeah, once the ball popped up in the air, regardless if we were going to get it back or not, I was just kind of making my way back on defense just because that's, kind of what we teach ourselves to do. Just expecting the worst, hoping we got the ball back and got a shot up, but as it turned out, we didn't. So, just being in the right place at the right time, thought I was going to be able to get the steal. Was nervous about reaching in and fouling them and putting them to the line since they were in the bonus. So I kind of backed off and then, got a stop in the end of the game.
I know defending without fouling is something you guys have been focusing on, especially a lot of us late. AD just talked about it as walk-off too. Defensive transition is an area you guys wanted to get better at. And when you look at that final possession, Alex, from the moment you got the stop in transition initially, obviously contesting Kemba to then making sure Tice wasn't able to connect right at the very end. What can that possession do for you guys moving forward?
Yeah, I think the fourth quarter was a lot more along the lines of how we're going to play defensively. A little more aggressive, a little more impacting what the offense does rather than letting them dictate what we want on defense. And parts in transition, we haven't been great in that area. We're trying to get better. Obviously, we haven't a lot of practice time this year. It's a lot of just games, film sessions. So that's something that's harder to do, learning on the fly. But I think we're getting better. It's just an effort thing. It's about realizing where the guys are and matching up, and then being able to box out and get out in transition on offense is another part of us being a great team. So obviously the game was over on the rebound, but plays like that, us getting back, getting loaded, contested shots, rebounds, and then hopefully get out on offense is what we're looking for moving forward.
One final point from me, obviously knowing when this game hit, losing those two in a row coming in. AD mentioned you guys don't forget last year in the 32-point loss. Duds just tweeted that this was the best win of the year. How would you quantify this one for you guys?
Yeah, anytime you beat the Celtics, it's a good day. That's for us as a team, but as a fan base, I know the Lakers love when we played the Celtics. And like you said last year, we split with them, but that one, in Boston stung a little bit. So we just tried to make sure we came out, gave a great effort, and they're one of the best teams we've played this year. Can't argue with the win. Anytime you get a win on the road against a really good team, a playoff team, arguably top 4 team in the West, the East, in my opinion, it's always a good win.
Alex, thanks for your time.
All right, let's go to Dave McMiniman.
Alex, nice win. A lot of coaches will say it's not really about who starts, it's who finishes. How comfortable are you being a part of the finishing group, and do you take pride in being able to make plays late in the game that affect the outcome like that?
Yeah, really confident. I did a lot in the playoffs last year, a lot in the regular season last year. Just earning coaches' trust, earning the teammates' trust. I'm a really, really competitive guy, and at the end of the game is when it matters most. So, I don't really care too much about starting points, stats. I care a lot about winning. Fourth quarter, end of the game is winning time, and a lot of times coming out of timeouts, I'll just say that if it's winning time, I'll go to one player or say it out loud, just kind of let everybody lock in, let everybody know what's going on. For me, that's my favorite part of the game.
Kyle Goon, please.
Hey, AC. I'm wondering, with the the two new big guys and Trez and Mark, obviously they're so different from sort of the traditional centers you guys had last year. How much does that change sort of the whole variance of the different defensive roles you guys have to play? Are you like having to like memorize a lot more? Like, okay, if we have this lineup, I have to be in this position. If we're in this lineup, I have to be in this position, or does it affect it at all?
Not so much. You know, we have a lot of the same principles in our defensive schemes from last year, maybe tweak a little here and there, depending on the opponent. But for the most part, you know, we're still doing the same things. It's just about, you know, getting acclimated. You know, like I said, we haven't had a lot of practice time. When we don't have practice time, you know, stuff that you try to introduce scheme-wise for new players, you know, transition defense, finding the connectivity on that, handling pick and rolls and our veer system of guards getting into the bigs and bigs stepping up on floaters and passes. So it's just the chemistry and the connectivity. You know, we're working through it. We're not going to be perfect. We weren't perfect last year at the beginning of the season. We struggled with it. And, it's about growth mindset. You know, we're trying to get better as a team. We're trying to get better as a coaching staff and organization every game. Without the practice time, we have to rely on game reps and game minutes to get it right. So, you know, I'm optimistic we're moving in the right direction, but we still have a long way to go.
All right, I could listen to Caruso for another 10 minutes. If Caruso would talk, I'm ready to listen. You just like his small winning plays. You like his selfless play. And by the way, Lakers got a lot of players like that, and that's how you got to be. If you got a chance to go win another NBA championship, you got to have players that sacrifice. Caruso is definitely one of those players. And I know we have this conversation all the time. You say, oh, it's a 72-game grind. You know what? If they lose, if they lost tonight, the world's not going to end. I get all that. But you wanted tonight's game. You're coming off a 2-game losing streak. And, of course, this is the Boston Celtics. Lakers, I want to say, got blown out in Boston last season. So this is an important game for the Lakers just to get back on track. Big difference tonight. They didn't have Anthony Davis against the Detroit Pistons. They had Anthony Davis tonight. AD 36 minutes, 11 of 25 from the field, 27 and 14 plus 2 steals. So AD obviously a big key tonight. Here's Anthony Davis on the Lakers' 1-point win over the Celtics.
Hey, Anthony, what stood out to you about the fourth quarter, especially defensively there?
What was the first part?
Just what stood out about the fourth quarter to you when you guys flipped the game around?
We got a couple of stops. We made some shots, but I think for the most part we got stops. You know, Tatum got loose a little bit in the fourth, but you know, all the shots were contested. You know, we've been doing a good job of buckling down the full quarter. Stop the Detroit game, I think. You know, even in Philly, did a good job. That's how we were able to come back. You know, just buckling down the fourth, being a team where when we need stops, you know, we're going to get them. You know, playing hard, playing scrappy, and you know, I think that last play, with Jaylen Brown going ahead and lay up and he had to cover into Kemba. I just think that something for the defense. We're just scrappy and just playing hard.
Looked like you were more aggressive, especially early, 18 and 10 in the first half. Just wondered what the season's been like for you, trying to, you know, with everything that you talked about preseason, the shortened off season, how the new teammates, how did you evaluate the whole thing so far?
It's been good so far. You know, for me personally, I just get back to the technical, being aggressive, crashing off the glass, taking the paint, doing those things. Everything that I did tonight. Just trying to get back to that and what I got back to it tonight. Carry over for that's the season. But things come together very well. We were starting to figure each other out. The guys are getting comfortable. And you know, we're doing it for a short practice time. And we're doing it on the road. So, you know, the more games that we play with each other, the better we'll be. Comfortable we'll be.
Dave?
Anthony, Alex, you credited that defensive play he made late when you spoke to Rachel afterwards. But you know, there's other guys who have more experience in the league on your roster, who have more credentials, who have you know, command a larger salary. But he's part of the the closing lineup, or has been often for you guys. What about his game, about his persona, allows him to fit in that role? And what do you guys like about having him there when it's winning time?
Yeah, he's a smart player. Like I say, he's not the highest paid or, have all the accolades or credentials, and a lot of people don't notice him. But he plays the right way. He locks up defensively, makes tough shots, scrappy. I saw a stat where actually Doug, I didn't see it. Doug told me after the Detroit game is that in our losses, and he's a plus 46 and like plus minus or something like that, which just shows that anytime you throw him on the floor, he's always in the plus column in the plus minus, which means he's playing the right way. He's expecting the game, in a positive way. So for him to be out there and close the lineup with us, we trust him, coach trusts him, and he always come up and make big plays. Just what we seen tonight at the end of the game.
Dan?
For what it's worth, I think he's a plus 14 tonight while scoring 2 points off the bench. For you guys as an identity, I mean, how fitting is it to have a guy simply just run as hard as he can from one corner of the court to the free throw line? What does that say about the kind of team that you guys want to be in terms of just playing hard and having that be such a cornerstone of your identity as a group?
Yeah, we just want everybody to do their job. You do your job, and that's all, we can never ask of anyone on this team, from the coaching staff to the players. Everyone, knows their role, and everyone is just asked to do their job. If your job is to run to the corners, then, to create space and make shots, then, that's what, we expect you to do. Your job to defend, rebound, block shots, whatever, that's what we expect you to do. Score, come off pick and roll, get in the paint, whatever it is, whatever your role is on this team, we expect you to do it at the highest level. So, I think everyone on our team noticed that, and when you're not doing it, then we got guys on the team who can hold each other accountable. We have been doing that, so that's why I think a lot of guys are just starting to get more comfortable, knowing that guys are going to get on them, and when they're not playing the right way or doing their role, then we're going to talk.
Last question, Kyle.
AD, you wound up with the ball after Tice missed the putback and looked like you were kind of hanging on the net for a second, maybe thinking a little bit. I was wondering, what were you thinking after that finish? And as a follow-up, is this the kind of win that still feels a little humbling, even after you're winning it?
I don't know what I was thinking. I was just in a daze. A gritty win. Playing against a team that just, beat us by 30 last year in this building. Lots of feet, and we were able to, put it off with a great win and a stop at the end. So it was just like, a relief. I mean, obviously, Kemba had a good look. Tice had a great look on the putback, but losing 2 in a row, something we don't condone, it's something we don't like. We were able to, get this one, and we just, we're back in the win column when it could have easily went in, and but it killed our spirit, of course. So, just a sign of relief just to be able to get this win, and then for us in total, I think we just happy to be back in the win column. Happy to. It's been a long road trip, almost 2 weeks now. So we're trying to push through it and continue to play the right way while get wins. The long road trip can get to anybody, especially when you're away from your home and your family for a very long time. So it was a good win for us to get back in the win column, especially against a team like this, and got another team coming up who plays hard. With Trey and John Collins and all these guys who are playing extremely well for them. It would be easy to get that win either, but it feels good to get back in the win column going into another game and not dropping 3 in a row.
All right, that's Anthony Davis right there. Yes, it does feel good to get back in the win column. Lakers 96-95 over Boston, 15-6 now on the season. Can they finish off this road trip coming up this Monday and go 5-2 on this 7-game road trip? What a great way that would be to finish this thing off. All right, that's our next broadcast. It's coming up this Monday. Lakers in Atlanta to take on the Hawks. Pre-game show will be at 3 p.m. Tip-off is set for 4:30. We greatly appreciate everybody tuning in on our broadcast. This is the Pizza Hut Lakers post-game show on 710 ESPN.
Thank you for listening to Lakers basketball tonight. Lakers basketball on ESPN LA is sponsored by Subaru of Glendale, the #1 Subaru dealer in America. Lakers basketball.
Brought to you by Pizza Hut and the Triple Treat Box. 2 medium, 1 topping pizzas, breadsticks, and Cinnabon mini rolls for just $21.99.
Brought to you in part